How to be the best at what you do. Now, you've already been searching out, because you're awesome, how to become the best at what you do. I'm going to give you some points and examples as to how you can become even more awesome. My name is Jason Hewlett. I'm actually a Hall of Fame keynote speaker, and I've made a living for over 2 decades as an award-winning entertainer as well, an MC and host on stages, as well as a coach for many, many people that are speakers and very successful. And so I'm excited to talk to you about how you can become the best at what you do. In this video, I'm going to reveal why impersonation can actually help you to become even better at what you already do, as well as when I made the investment in myself that I'm going to reveal in this video, and how it ramped up every type of success I could possibly have. It'll help you the same. And then I'm going to share with you the moment I was told I am the best in the world at what I do and what I did about it. Enjoy this video. So number one, I want you to think about your vision of what you want to become. What are your goals? What are your promises? I like to say, why set a goal when you can make a promise? But that's not to say that goals aren't important, because of course they are. But I like to say that if you set a goal and miss it, you just set another one. Whereas if you make a promise and break it, that's a one and done. So what are your promises you're going to make for yourself and then keep? You need to make the right promises. And then the goals are the particulars, the promises, the proclamation. So what is your vision for yourself, for your life? You have so much that you can continue to give to become the best at what you do. But it comes down to the goals that you set and the promise you proclaim. Number two is impersonation and mimic masters. Have you ever thought about the greatest musician you've ever seen? They probably had a hero that they mimicked. Or maybe the best athlete you've ever seen. They probably had an athlete they mimicked. Impersonation is a big deal in my life. I've made a living as an impersonator in Las Vegas even. That's a wild thing to be able to say. But to mimic masters has taught me that as you watch somebody masterfully navigate life and succeed at what you want to become great at, then you can have a blueprint for how you can do the same. The trick is to not mimic them so much that you get lost in becoming exactly a carbon copy of them. What you want to do is mimic them and impersonate them enough to the point that you know your signature moves and can put those on the shoulders of giants and become the legendary leader that you are. And so number three, I want you to write down an outline of what you want to become, some of your goals you want to hit, your promises. There might be levels and markers along the way. For example, maybe you have a goal or a dream of having $100,000 in your bank. Maybe it's $1 million. You choose. That's just numbers. What about creating things like writing a book or doing something spectacular? Working towards those things helps you to create the best version of yourself, but you must write them down. Create that outline as soon as you can. Number four is to practice and practice more. When I worked in Las Vegas, I had to practice quite a bit to become great at what I was doing. People were paying $100 a ticket to see me perform in a show with a couple of other great performers. And so I had to work very, very hard, practice and practice every single day. Some people just say practice makes perfect. I just say, promise yourself you're going to practice and then you will. But you know, in terms of being a performer, that was one thing. It was a whole different animal when I transitioned from being a performer on stage as a singer, an impersonator, to then becoming a leadership speaker and somebody who gets paid a whole lot of money for 1 hour of speaking. And so how did I do that? I had to practice a lot. I brought in my friends that were great speakers and I asked them to help me with it. I practiced with them. They changed the way that I saw myself. They helped me to refine my message. They got me to a new place, but I had to practice over and over again, putting in the reps. Just like if you're into basketball and you shoot free throws. Once it comes down to the game at the end and you have to stand up there and shoot a free throw, if you haven't practiced enough, you're not going to be able to make it on the big stage. The same is true in anything that you do. The more you practice, the more you promise yourself you'll practice on that which needs to be practiced, the quicker you'll become one of the greats at what you do. Number 5 changed my entire life, and it was a hard one to do because at the time, I didn't have enough money to even do it. Number 5 is to hire a coach. I've talked about this in other videos, and I'd love if you'd subscribe below because I'm always talking about this type of principle, but hiring a coach is so important. Whether you're a speaker, a performer, an entrepreneur, whatever you do in business, if you're an employee of a business, yes, even hire a coach. Here's why. Because if you want to improve at your performance, you need that coach. If you want to improve your voice like I wanted to, I hired a coach. If you want to improve your body like I want to look buff and feel good, I hired a coach. If I want to improve my nutrition, I hired a coach. Do you see where I'm going? If I want to improve my money, I hired a coach. I have a lot of coaches. It almost seems crazy. I have a coach that helps me write, and you're thinking, well, I could just use ChatGPT. Okay, that's cool, but hire a coach. The sooner you do this and make that investment in yourself, you'll 3, 4, 5 times your investment just because they see things in you can't see in yourself. I call it identify, clarify, and magnify. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how you can do that, but a coach helps you clarify what you don't know you haven't identified. Number 6 is know your competition so that you can refer each other and at the same time become friends. Know your competition is fascinating and important. You see, there are speakers out there that get the gig more than I do, and I've become very dear friends with them. I'm proud of them for getting the gig, even though I'm like, man, I wish I got it. But here's the thing. Those people are such good friends of mine that they'll then refer me after they got the gig, and then I get the gig. It's pretty cool. Now we have a circle of friends and peers that refer each other. So knowing your competition, becoming friends with them, and referring them actually becomes to your advantage. And that's one of the best ways, is to associate with the people that are actually getting the work that you want, that are better than you in their field, and then you're going to become even greater by association. So before I share the rest of these great points as to how to become the best at what you do, I hope that you'll press subscribe, because there are so many other videos that you're going to be interested in. Thanks for joining me here. Hey, press subscribe, then we'll keep going. Number 7 is to join NSA, which is the National Speakers Association if you're a speaker or a performer, as well as if you're in the entrepreneurial business, whatever you might do. Join the association that is your industry's association. That's a fascinating thing, because rubbing shoulders with people that are not only your competition, but are also people that will become some of your lifelong friends. They're going through the same struggles as you. They're having the same wins that you want. And so just by joining an association where you can say to yourself, oh, I'm glad I went to that. It helps you reset yourself. If you have local meetings, if they have an annual national meeting, attend that meeting. Make that investment in yourself. Join an association of industry peers, because they see in you something you may not be able to see in yourself, and equally, they might be doing something really well that you can then say, hey, can you show me how you do that? Some of my greatest mentors have come from the associations I've joined, whether they were my competitors or not, and they've become some of my greatest allies. Number 8 is work hard, work smart, and hire people to do the things you shouldn't. My friend Dave Crenshaw, you may have heard of him. He is a big star on LinkedIn. And if you're not on LinkedIn, I'd love for you to be my friend there as well. But I want you also to go check out Dave Crenshaw, because Dave Crenshaw is the ultimate guy at doing what I just said. Don't do the things you shouldn't do. Instead, hire people that should do those for you. Now, I love this principle. Dave is a genius at this because he sees in other people their signature moves, and he allows them by hiring them, and then he empowers them by saying, I want you to do this for me because I don't do it as well as you. What's so interesting about Dave Crenshaw is that he sees greatness in other people, and he brings them in, and they do things so that he can then do what his most valuable thing is that he should be doing every single day. I'm so impressed with Dave. And there are so many reasons as to why you shouldn't do what you're doing right now. Go hire somebody to do it for you, because you have other incredible things you should be doing instead. Number 9 also includes my friend Dave Crenshaw, because here's a guy who does this principle perfectly. The principle of rest, relaxation, and playing hard. You see, Dave wrote a book called The Myth of Multitasking. He also wrote The Focused Business, but he also wrote a book called The Power of Having Fun. And in Dave's book, he talks about the power of having an oasis. If you think about an oasis, it's something in the middle of a desert, right? Where everything is wonderful. Dave talks about creating an oasis in your life, where you can actually relax, enjoy your life, have some fun, but don't wait until retirement to do it. He says to schedule those within your year. I think it's ingenious. And relaxation, having fun, getting some rest, it's so important to rejuvenating for the next thing you're going to be doing. And so if you want to become the best at what you want to become, you have to relax, rest, rejuvenate, take an oasis. Go look up Dave Crenshaw. You'll love his work. So number 10 is to corner your market and then dive deep. Be that person that is known with your signature moves as the person who can solve a problem for somebody else. For example, I've become known in many ways as the guy who can come in and fix the entertainment that didn't go well last year. That's an interesting thing to be known for. Usually it's because the entertainment was not clean, was not family friendly. So then they hired me, Jason Hewlett. My name is associated in their mind with my signature moves and my promise that will always be a G-rated family-friendly experience. I have been known to come into events that had such a bad problem the year before that the only person they could bring in was Jason Hewlett. That's what they say. That's what they've told me is my linchpin. That is what makes me uniquely who I am as the entertainer. The same has been true as a keynote speaker. I have had to follow speakers that did not go well, a celebrity that didn't show up in time or prepared or care about the event. I've had to be the keynote speaker that stepped in for a speaker that didn't show up at all. And so when I have become known for that, I now can become the best version of me because other people know about it and allow me to do so. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video what happened when I was told I was the best in the world at what I do and how I did something about that. You see, I was performing in Las Vegas. It was 2012, so over a decade ago. In 2012, I performed, I did my show. When I was done, I came off stage. Everyone congratulated me. It was at a big corporate event, about 10,000 people were there. And when I came off the stage, toweling off, soaking wet, the spotlight operators and the audio technicians came over. It was at the MGM Grand Arena, which is where they have all the big boxing matches and the greatest performers in the world go there. Elton John, Billy Joel, Lady Gaga, you name it, they've been there. These spotlight operators came down and they cornered me and they said, "You're the best we've ever seen in concert." And I thought, they must be joking. And they said, "We've seen Elvis, we've seen Sammy Davis Jr., we've seen Elton John and Billy Joel. You're the best we've ever seen." That was incomprehensible to me. But for me, it made me realize that I had worked to a certain level and the right people had come into my life to allow me to have an opportunity where people that didn't need to tell me that decided to come all the way down from the rafters, the spotlight operators, and tell me something that kind. You're the best in the world at what you do. And that's when I thought, okay, I'm going to go into speaking. And I became a keynote speaker after that, teaching leadership, teaching how to become your best version of you. And so I only share that because when somebody tells you you're the best at what you do, what are you going to do with that? Are you just going to bask in the glory and sit there and say, I am the best, and keep doing the same thing over and over? Or are you going to transition and go try something even harder? And so if you will, I would love for you to write in the comments somebody you've patterned after to become your best self. You know, for me it was a guy like Jim Carrey with the comedy, or Michael Jackson with the music. Danny Gans was an entertainer you may have never heard of, but he's somebody that I wanted to mimic as a master. Put in the comments, if you will, who you've patterned after and how you're sharing your signature moves as only you can. I appreciate you being here. I hope that you'll subscribe because there's so much more we can share together through these videos. I'm Jason Hewlett. Thanks for joining me.